we are so excited to be joined by Steve Scott, PGA teaching pro and the founder of the Silver Club Golfing Society, which we'll get to in a second. Most notably, though, he's known for finishing runner-up to Tiger Woods in the 1996 U.S. Amateur, arguably one of the greatest amateur championship matches ever played. Recently, he wrote a book about it called Hey Tiger, You Need to Move Your Mark Back. Steve, thanks so much for taking some time to talk to us here at GolfNewsRI.
Yeah, my pleasure. My pleasure. Glad to chat.
You also hear Steve's call on PGA Tour Live throughout the weeks and obviously the rest of the season. He is taking the week off for the U.S. Open, though, so he gets to relax for a bit. But so let's get into it. You came out with this book about a year ago. Hey, Tiger, you need to move your mark back, obviously, about the 96 Amateur, and you famously telling Tiger he needs to move his mark back. It was pretty simple, like you say in your book. 9 simple words that changed the game of golf forever. So just as a writer myself, and I've asked other guys this that we've had on Bob Harrig, Armin Katayan. When you're writing this book, what was it like to go through it again? I mean, did you do it all from memory or a lot of from memory? Did you have to actually go back and watch the match again? I know it's on YouTube, or at least a large portion of it was on YouTube. It was a 36-hole match. What was that process like for you writing this book?
Yeah, the memory that I have were pretty good for sure. Yeah, I mean, it was able to, I've definitely seen it many times over the course of, the last 25 plus years. So, and it's kind of one of those days that really sticks in your mind pretty fresh. And so, yeah, I mean, it was an amazing day in golf. I mean, to be in the finals of the U.S. Amateur alone is pretty unreal. And then to think that you're playing against Tiger Woods for history, that's pretty outrageous. So yeah, it was an amazing day. We both played our heart out, and he was supposed to go and do what he continued to do throughout his career. But it's amazing how time flies, and we look back and realize what could have been in that moment for me and for Tiger if he didn't move his marker back in the 34th hole of the match, and when I was 2 up with 3 to play. So it was it was the right thing for golf that and hopefully everybody who's watching this and listening to this would do the same thing, because golf is just kind of that sport that we play by the rules, we play with integrity, we play under the spirit of the game, and that's really what I'm most proud of for that day, for sure.
That was actually my next question. How many times are you asked? I mean, you go all over the country. You've given numerous speeches, including last year at Moistet in the Northeast Amateur. How many times are you asked, why did you do that? Or, have you ever second guessed it? I mean, is that something that people ask you all the time? Because I don't think anyone would have blamed you necessarily if you didn't tell them, because you obviously would have won. You would have obviously won the championship, won the tournament. How many times do you get asked that? And over the years, have you ever, even for 1 second, or even maybe immediately after, have you ever second guessed and said, well, maybe I should have kept my mouth shut? I mean, because again, no, I don't think anyone would have blamed you if you didn't tell them.
No, not at all. No, I don't think, no, there's no way that I would have wanted to win that way. Again, golf just teaches you those things at a young age. And it was kind of this instinctive action that I made. I mean, it wasn't anything I thought about. I mean, I just kind of looked around and I said, hey, you forgot to move your mark. And if you play from the wrong spot in match play, you lose the hole automatically. So it's just kind of one of those things that's ingrained in you as a golfer, or at least it was me. And hopefully most of the golfers out there, would have done the same thing. But golf is just a different sport. And we help our opponent, we help our opponents look for their golf ball if they lost in the rough or the trees. I mean, we do things differently in golf than other sports, where you're trying to get away with, with penalties, and you're trying to get away with, kind of cheating. So hopefully the referee doesn't see it. And golf just isn't that way.
And I still think, you wrote this a year ago, and I still think it's relevant today, especially with some of the top amateur tournaments in the country or in the world, really, coming up within the next few months. And so on that, and talking about that, When you go and talk to kids, and like you last year, you talked to the kids at the Northeast Dam at Wannamoisa, which I'm sure I met you in person this year at the media day for it. Do you try to instill kind of the lessons from this book and kind of that, sportsmanship kind of into them? Is that something that, still, obviously this book is still relevant today, despite it happening in 1996, as we all make marks.
I think the story is pretty timeless. It's one of those things that I think will never go out of style, right? In my talks with everybody, I'm going to talk to the First Tee National Championship in a couple of weeks up at Notre Dame. I definitely spoke with the Northeast Dam. I've talked at many member guests and events throughout the last year or so, and I continue to do that when my time permits. So it's definitely it's an important lesson, I think, to pass along and to just make people realize what this game is about if they don't already know it. And if they do know it, it's kind of that reminder, and certainly a connection to Tiger Woods, and just realize what he did and how he it was the last amateur match he ever played. He turned pro the day after we played, so it was a pretty monumental moment in golf history. When Tiger turned the page to turn professional. Hello
world, right?
Yeah, that was it.
You talk for obviously you have a huge Rhode Island following and a little bit of Massachusetts and New England, and you do talk a little bit about Rhode Island in the book, as you mentioned. You played the '95 amateur at Newport Country Club. And I believe you said you thought you could have faced Tiger in that tournament. And then I know you've been involved with the Northeast Amateur. You've played in the Northeast Amateur yourself. So for Rhode Islanders and for us, what are your memories of playing in Rhode Island, whether it's at Newport or Wannamoisa or anywhere else really? But what are your Rhode Island golf memories?
Well, it really did start at Newport Country Club for me. I mean, I just finished my high school golfing career. I was just going into college at University of Florida, and I made it all the way to the semifinals in 1995. Loved Newport Country Club. It played really firm and really fast. It was really a neat golf course where kind of anybody could compete. And Buddy Marucci, who made it to the finals against Tiger, he was a mid amateur at the time in his 40s, and so he was even able to hit the ball 300 yards out there when it was a little downwind, because the ball was running forever. So it was pretty cool to see how you could control the golf ball in super firm conditions, and definitely the wind was up, and Newport is a really special area. We remember going to one of the big mansions for our event dinner, and just kind of got to experience what it was all about. And coming back because of that semifinals finish, I got invited to a lot of big amateur events like the Northeast Am, and had a great time. Played 4 Northeast Ams at Wannamoisa, and had a chance that very first year that I was there in 1996 to win. And if it wasn't for a really poor finish, I would have done so. So, golf is pretty cool, and those courses, are they're some of the best in the world, and so it's definitely great memories up there for sure.
And obviously, Wannamoisa was just completely revamped, so I'm looking forward to the Northeast Dam this year. These kids coming in and trying to learn a whole new course, and we'll worry about that in about a week and a half or so. Last thing on the book, I guess, because I found it interesting. You ended your portion of the book, and then your wife, who was your caddy back in 1996, which again is a pretty cool story in itself. But you ended with a letter to Tiger, and the book was released shortly after his major car crash or thereabouts. But you ended with a letter to Tiger. I thought it was a really awesome letter, emotional at times, obviously, just kind of talking to him straight up. Why did you feel that was important to put in? And have you ever had any sort of contact with him in the years after? I know you were both at Southern Hills, I guess a couple of weeks ago. He was only there. He was there for the whole week. But why put that letter in there? I thought it was really awesome.
Yeah, no, thanks. Yeah, we really never we really never ran into each other. And so, I guess I just felt like, if we never get a chance to sit down and talk about the match, and we actually I had to rework that chapter because we had it, worded a little differently at the beginning of that chapter, before the car crash. So I felt like it was, important to note that really, key point that happened, there. But yeah, it was, if we never get that chance to sit down, at least I feel like, I kind of aired out my thoughts and just I always kind of wondered, what he was thinking during the match too. Maybe one day I'll know, we'll get to chat about it, but the chances are probably slim of that, but he's got a very close circle of people that he hangs around. So, but no, it was, I felt like it was kind of one of those endings that, I wanted to kind of tell him, my perspective of it, because we didn't really ever chat at all during the match either. So not that we would have much in the pressure packed moment, but he turned pro and went on his way and signed that $40 million contract, and I went back to college. So we never really had a chance to really connect about it.
And a lot of that was because you told him to move his mark back. So like you said, that changed golf forever. So the book is Hey Tiger, You Need to Move Your Mark Back, talking with Steve Scott. Amateur game today. Obviously, there's a lot going on in the golf world. There's no secret there. There's a lot going on in the golf world, the pro golf world, and any other part of the golf world. When you talk to amateurs, whether it was the Northeast Amateur or anywhere else, or maybe perhaps you work with them in some respect, what advice do you have for top amateurs today? You were a top amateur at one point, obviously, in your career. These kids are playing these high-level tournaments, whether it's Northeast or USAM or whatever, and they're trying to go pro sooner, in the near future. What do you think of the amateur game today, and what advice would you offer, or do you offer, to some of these top players that are out there?
Yeah, I mean, I think, I was fortunate enough to be the number one ranked amateur when I turned professional in 1999. So, it's there's certainly a bit of a pressure on you, I guess. I mean, you have expectations to live up to. I mean, mostly your own, and so, you want to go out there and play your best. But yeah, I think if there was, advice, I mean, it's a long race, I think, and so, I mean, it doesn't, you don't have to be great at 23, although the game is becoming younger, and like this year, the top players in the world all seem to be in their 20s, and so really for the first time, the top 5 in the world this year have been in their 20s. So I guess it is pretty young, but still, at the end of the day, it's a long race, and you can play this game well for a long time. So don't feel like you have to put so much pressure on yourself early, because there's so few spots really to make it on the big stage, and a lot of good things have to happen, and it's a very fine line between making it and not making it. Mm-hmm. So you have to get lucky, and you have to play well at the right time.
And with the pro golf world is kind of in flux. Chaos is ensuing, as we said on a previous podcast. But do you have thoughts on the PGA Tour versus LIV? Obviously, you're a PGA guy. Most people are, I feel like. But do you have thoughts on kind of where the pro golf world is going?
Yeah, I mean, they've certainly caused some upheaval in a lot of ways. The Saudi tour, and so yeah, I mean, we will see how it all plays out. But I mean, there's only 48 people that can play on that tour, right? So I mean, they're not going to get everybody, and most of the big names in the world they've pledged their commitment to the PGA Tour. I mean, you're Justin Thomas, you're Rory McIlroy. I mean, these guys, they have plenty of money. I don't think they need more money. They want to play for legacy. They want to play for. They want the titles. They want to win major championships. The LIV Tour to me feels like a exhibition. I mean, it feels like they're going to hit shots and they're going to make money, but there's not a lot of I don't know. There's not that much drama to me because they're just kind of hitting shots to hit them. If there's a shot that's, putt somebody makes on the last hole, to win the XYZ tournament, like, does it really matter in the whole scheme of golf history? No, it really doesn't. I don't think. And I think, but when you win the Canadian Open, a national open that's been around, for many, many, many years, you win the US Open, you win the Masters. I mean, these events, you can't buy history. I think that's one thing that you'll realize when you watch these things. You can't buy it. So, the players who really know it, they're playing for history. They're playing for legacy, and that's what's important to them.
Yeah, and it's funny that you say that because that's something that Tiger has talked about when he's asked about in his various press conferences. He's talked about my legacy is on the PGA Tour and majors, and like you said, others have done it as well. Rory, Justin Thomas. So it's an interesting time in pro golf for sure. It'd be interesting to see this week at the U.S. Open at the Country Club of Brookline, sort of the drama unfolding there with some of these guys like Phil playing and etc. But U.S. Open this week. You've actually been to the Country Club before at Brookline. GolfNewsRI, we have media credentials, so I'm super excited to be there. Your thoughts on the U.S. Open? Any insight you can offer? I know you do some work for PGA Tour Live, so you're still around the pro game a lot.
Sure.
Your thoughts on kind of the U.S. Open, the Country Club, and anything else that kind of goes with it.
Yeah. I mean, it's pretty neat. They're finally going back there for the U.S. Open after 34 years. Curtis Strange having won that playoff in 1988 over Nick Faldo, and so the Ryder Cup obviously was a huge event there as well. I actually went to that Ryder Cup back in '99. That was kind of right when I turned pro in the fall of '99, and I signed with a management company that was based out of Boston. So I actually got to go and see that Ryder Cup, which was pretty neat. And then a few years later, I got to play the golf course. I mean, it's spectacular. The greens are very small. They're not too much bigger than Pebble Beach greens, which are some of the smallest in all of golf. So there's going to be some really good iron play involved with it. Obviously, U.S. Open, the rough is pretty thick, so you're gonna have to put the ball in play a lot. It's a golf course most of these players haven't seen at all, so they're gonna have to learn it pretty quickly. And I think it's going to be pretty neat to watch it. A lot of history there for sure. Again, we talk about you can't buy history. I mean, it's around the same golf course that Francis Ouimet won the 1913 U.S. Open. So I mean, just that stuff. Just you can't make that up. It has to happen and evolve organically over time. And to have all that at that venue, I think it's going to be pretty special to watch. And it's our national championship, so it doesn't matter where it's played, even but to have it at the Country Club will be that much more special.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. It should be cool. Like I said, I've never been to the Country Club, but I'm certainly gonna be looking for those historical things that are there with Francis Ouimet or the Ryder Cup. I'm sure there's all kinds of memorabilia that you can find, and I'm sure there'll be all the USGA merchandise tent for sure. Lastly, I know you gotta get to a dinner shortly, but I do want to let you talk about the Silver Club Golfing Society, which obviously you're repping on your T-shirt. You're the founder of it. And obviously, I can already see the smile on your face because it means a lot to you. But talk about that. I follow you on Instagram. You're all over it on Instagram. But just talk about that, how you founded it, and what does it mean, and what does it mean to you?
Yeah, thanks, Joe. Yeah, I think I mean, for me, I smile because it's it's something near and dear to my heart. It's been really fun. I mean, this is the 4th season for the Silver Club Golfing Society, and we saw each other the other day at Wannamoisett. We had our group of about 20 guys that played, all single-digit handicaps in our society, and we set up events all over the country to allow people to what we like to call hit shots that matter, and in competition. But it's a fun competition, but it's a competition nonetheless. We had 3 great days last week up in the area. We played Boston Golf Club, we played Wanamatanami, and then we played Wannamoisett for our final day. And our guys just loved it. They loved all the changes that Andrew Green had done. But the Silver Club is really neat. You can check it out on social media at Silver Club Golf on Instagram and Twitter. We're on Facebook. Check us out on the web. It's a really neat thing to watch. Meet great players from all over the country. We have 35 of the 50 states represented thus far in our membership. So we go around the country and play some of the world's best courses. We've played Quaker Ridge, we've played Oakmont, we've played Wannamoisett, we've played Old Sandwich, we've played Inverness, Pasatiempo, Prairie Dunes, Ballyneal. I mean, you name it. The level of golf course we play is very important. So it's really fun to set up these events at these world-class golf courses for all these really good players that belong to our society. And so, if any of your viewers or listeners want to chat with me about it, feel free to, just hop on our website, silverclubgs.com, and fill out a little form, and I'll be happy to get back to you, and we'll connect about it. But, it's just fun watching people, hit shots that mean something, and when they're a little nervous, and it helps them, when they go back to their club championships at home or their regional events, to get the competitive reps under their belt. And, again, especially at a world-class golf course like a Wannamoisett, that's really what we pride ourselves on.
And do you have members in your club from Rhode Island? Is Rhode Island one of those 35 states?
We do.
Oh,
we
awesome.
have a few Wannamoisett members.
Awesome. That's great.
We have, a few members up in the Boston area. So yeah, definitely some members up there. And, the East Coast, probably a little bit more represented than the West Coast. So, and that's kind of the neat thing too. Outside of our events, we have, our members get together, and some people invite their, people that they meet to their member guests at their course. And, or just for a casual round, outside of our event schedule, which is really what it's all about. Just kind of introducing people to other good players that might live in their area that, they can, get along with, and, have some fun, fraternizing around a round of golf, and go have a beer afterwards and laugh about it. So,
and that's what golf is all about, right? Like you said, it's about meeting people, and you never know who you might meet. You might meet Steve Scott one day at Wannamoisett, and
you never know.
he comes on your podcast a couple of days later. But Steve, thanks so much. I know you gotta get to a dinner and get ready for the rest of your week. But thanks so much for coming on. I really appreciate you taking the time. The book is Hey Tiger, You Need to Move Your Mark Back. Check that out in stores. You can also go to movethatback.com. You have all kinds of merchandise. You even have a ball marker with the cover on it, which I thought was pretty cool. So congrats on the success of the book, and I love following you on Instagram. Again, I really appreciate you taking a few minutes of your busy schedule to come on my podcast.
No, it's my pleasure. Thanks so much. Enjoy all that great golf up in the Northeast that you've got, very, very shortly coming up.
It's a busy 2 weeks for sure. So thanks so much, Steve. I really appreciate it.
My pleasure.